He was born in a small West African village. He never cried, never babbled, not a word, not once. For 5 years, Fabrice was silent. His family prayed. His mother wept. Then a traveling medical team arrived. A quick exam, a simple surgery. And what happened next, no one, not even the doctors, could fully explain. Fabrice opened his mouth and spoke, clearly, as if the words had been waiting inside him all along. Was it science? Faith? A miracle? You decide.
In the village of Couvé, nestled in the southern region of Togo, life moved with the rhythm of earth and sky. The sun rose gently over clay homes and cocoa fields. People rose early, worked with their hands, and prayed with their hearts. And in one modest house on the edge of the village, a little boy named Fabrice was born. His mother, Miriam, remembers the moment he came into the world with joy and fear. He didn't cry, not at birth, not after. The midwife pinched him gently, rubbed his back. Still, nothing. He was breathing, but silent. They thought maybe he was just calm, special. But as weeks passed, and then months, the silence continued. Fabrice never cooed, never called for his mother, never made a sound of distress or joy or pain. He could see, he could feel, he would laugh, but it was a laugh with no sound. By his first birthday, other children in the village were beginning to speak. Fabrice still made no sound. By 2, parents whispered. By 3, some assumed he was cursed. But Miriam didn't believe that, not once. She believed there was something hidden in him, something waiting. She began taking him to healers, then to churches, to small clinics where the staff had more heart than equipment. No one had answers. Some said he was possessed, others said born broken. One said his tongue had been tied too tight by spirits. But Fabrice smiled often. He loved to draw in the dirt with a stick. He hugged strangers. He laughed, still soundless, at goats chasing chickens. He was full of life, just voiceless. Miriam never stopped praying. Every morning, before the village stirred, she would kneel beside the bed, whispering prayers over her son's silent mouth. Every night she laid her hand on his chest and asked heaven to open his voice. Then, one dry season morning, word spread that a team of white tents had been set up outside a neighboring village. Doctors, from the city, from abroad. Some spoke French, some English. They were doing checkups for free. Miriam had no money for the bus fare, but she walked. Miles under the scorching sun, her son strapped to her back. Just one more try. She had no idea that her world was about to change forever.
Stay with us. The next part of Fabrice's journey reveals the unexpected discovery that silenced 5 years of confusion and unlocked something sacred. If you believe in the unseen, the inexplicable, the moments when science and spirit collide, don't forget to like, share, and follow Lanes and Lanterns. The village of Afangyan was bustling that day. A sea of faces surrounded the pop-up medical camp. Children with swollen bellies, mothers with infants wrapped tightly to their backs, fathers with calloused hands clasped in hope. Word had traveled far, white coats with healing hands. Miriam stood in line under the beating sun for hours, Fabrice still on her back, light as a breeze, silent as always. The nurses were kind, though overwhelmed.
The air smelled of iodine and dust. The buzz of generators hummed behind white tarps. One child screamed, another laughed. Fabrice just watched. When their turn came, Miriam sat across from a tall, tired-eyed doctor named Paul. He was French, with sleeves rolled up and sweat on his brow. A Togolese nurse translated Miriam's words. At first, Paul assumed it was a developmental issue, a neurological condition. But then he looked closer. He gently asked permission to examine Fabrice, checked his eyes, ears, reflexes, all normal. Then he opened the boy's mouth and paused. There it was, almost missed it, a thin band of tissue tethered the bottom of Fabrice's tongue to the floor of his mouth. Thick, tighter than normal. He looked at the nurse. They exchanged glances. "Ankyloglossia," he said. The nurse translated, "He's tongue-tied." Miriam blinked. Paul leaned in. "This happens in children around the world," he said. "Usually caught at birth. A small piece of tissue prevents the tongue from moving freely. It can make speech or even sound nearly impossible." Miriam covered her mouth. "You mean that's all it is?" "A simple condition, one we can fix right now. It will only take a few minutes." Miriam didn't speak. She just nodded, tearfully. They laid Fabrice on a clean table inside one of the tents. A local nurse held his hands gently. Paul used sterile scissors to snip the frenulum, a short, simple, almost routine procedure. There was a second of silence. Then Fabrice blinked. He looked at the ceiling, and he cried. A long, wailing, confused cry, loud, real, his first sound. The tent froze. A nurse gasped. Another whispered, "C'est un miracle." Miriam fell to her knees and wept. Then Fabrice looked at her, his eyes wide, and said, soft, unsure but unmistakable, "Mama." If this moment touched your heart, if you believe in quiet miracles and the power of persistence, don't forget to like, share, and follow Lanes and Lanterns. Let us know in the comments, have you ever waited for a moment that changed everything in just a second?
Fabrice's voice was unsure at first. His words came slowly, like a bird testing new wings, raspy syllables, soft echoes, but every day he spoke a little more. He'd sit beneath the mango tree outside their home, speaking to himself, to birds, to goats that passed by. His favorite word was still "Mama." He said it over and over. Miriam would close her eyes every time, soaking it in as if it were a song she thought she'd never hear. Sometimes she would laugh, sometimes she would cry, always she would pray. News spread quickly. In a village where stories are sacred, Fabrice's story became something more. People whispered of angels, of answered prayers, of modern medicine touched by a divine hand. Some said Miriam had never stopped believing, and that belief became a bridge for the miracle. Even elders came to hear him speak. He would greet them shyly, say their names softly, smile like he'd always known how to do this, like the voice had always been in him, just waiting for permission to come out. Doctors who had returned to the capital city heard about what happened. Some were puzzled. "Tongue-tie," they said, "is common. We fix it all the time." Yes, but not after 5 years of complete silence. Not in children who had never once uttered a sound. Not in conditions where therapy, delay, or trauma were expected. And not in a way that felt so timed, so precise, so impossible to explain away. Miriam would later say, she always knew the voice was in there. But it wasn't just the surgery, she said. It was the moment. It was the timing. The voice, she whispered once to a neighbor, came when heaven said it was time. Stories like Fabrice's remind us that miracles don't always arrive with lightning or fire. Sometimes they come gently through dusty roads, tired hands, whispered prayers, and small hands reaching for sound. What makes a miracle? Is it science meeting faith? Is it a mother who never gave up? Or is it simply timing too perfect to ignore? If this story moved you, please like, share, and follow Lanes and Lanterns. We tell true stories where the visible world meets the invisible. And tell us in the comments, have you ever waited for something you were told would never come, and then it did? You never know. Your story might be next.